Here we go. Hey, everybody. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas. Blessings on whatever holiday you celebrate. And thanks for being here with us today on this Facebook Live, or if you're watching this, the recording, thank you. And it's my pleasure in this soulful conversation to introduce to you my friend Ignacio Lopez-Mancisidor, aka Nacho, who is an international banking expert, accomplished adventure racer, and father of four. And part of what we're going to talk about is the journey of transformation. So, welcome, Nacho.
Thank you very much, Christian, and thank you, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to be here, Christian. I mean, we've known each other for a couple of years now, and I'm really happy to be here right now. So
Yeah.
thanks for the opportunity.
Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing some of your experience with us. First of all, I wanna clarify the adventure racer. You're a triathlete, and in fact, have done 15 to 20 Ironman. Get out! Like even one is such an incredible accomplishment. For anybody who's watching this, can you describe what an Ironman is? What it entails?
Yeah, I mean, Ironman is so you swim in miles. You do like so it's 2.4 miles, something like this, and then you bike for 112 miles, and then you run for 26 miles around like a marathon to end up the whole journey. So yeah, I started doing Ironmans when when I began my transformation about 10 to 12 years ago, and at the beginning I was very focused on getting better and and racing faster. And when I started to understand more about the sport and how to get to that level, well, I started to look more at my nutrition, and even about the equipment, the bike. So I got very focused on getting better. And like in everything, my transformation in the sport has taken me right now to the point where I am, where I'm looking more for the adventure rather than the race itself. So right now I'm focused more on, for example, I did an ultra marathon a couple of weeks ago, and it was my first 50 miler. And so what I was looking for that is just the whole adventures and experience of running that, and forget about the pressure of racing fast and the times and all that at the end of the day it's also like fun, and you want to take more out of yourself. But what I realized is that I lost a little bit the focus on the journey of the whole sport. That's to enjoy, and be adventurous.
So let me ask you something. I mean, I can't even begin to imagine the level of focus, the discipline, the pushing yourself beyond limits that it takes to run even a marathon, not to mention an Ironman or an ultra marathon. From what you've learned, like the skill set that you have developed to be able to do that, how does that overlay? How does that apply to your spiritual journey of transformation, your psycho spiritual transformation process?
Well, I think it's all very linked. So for me, one of the things that I love more about the sport and doing an endurance race, for example, is that you compress life in one day. So in a race this long, even a marathon, you go through a lot of ups and downs, and it's a little bit like life, like there's moments where you are like, oh yeah, I'm feeling really good. This is a great pace. I can do this, and then suddenly you might hit a wall, and then you feel like you can't do it anymore. That you want to start walking or you want to quit, and you have to convince yourself like no, you have to keep on going. So it's the same with life, and that's why I love it so much, because there's moments in life where and it could be days, like one day you wake up and you're like, oh, today is the best day, and I want to do so many things. And then the next day, you don't want to do anything. You just want to stay in bed and watch Netflix.
Or even an hour later.
or even an hour later. But you have to like remind yourself, like, hey, I have to keep on going. I have to keep on going, and obviously I have to accept that there's gonna be times where I'm not doing where I'm not feeling at best. But just accept that, and just keep walking. Keep running. Keep going with life. And,
That's
and
actually really wise and powerful. And do you actually find yourself doing reminding yourself consciously, like when you hit a roadblock in life? Do you make that connection? Well, I can compare this to when I had that race and I hit that wall. Do you actually remember that, or is it second nature by now?
no, I do remember it, but I do it more in the opposite way. So, for example, in this ultra marathon, that it was my first time, and it was a very crazy day because I mean it was in Arizona, and you all know that in Arizona it doesn't rain much, so it rains probably 5 6 days in the year, and we got like the worst rainiest day of like the last, I don't know, 10 15 years. It was cold, and many things happened that I couldn't control. That's life, that things that are
Right.
beyond your control that happen. And I kept on reminding myself of accomplishments that I've done in my life. Like, hey, you've been able to do this. So I mean, if you could do this, you could do this again. So that reinforcement, of the things that you've done in your life, uh, uh, will help you. And in my case, it helped me, to keep on going on the race. So
Huh.
it goes both ways. But
That's
yeah, I mean,
amazing. I hadn't thought about it going that way too.
yeah, no, of course,
That's
because
really,
at the end of the day in endurance racing, I mean, obviously you have to have the preparation and the fitness, but it gets to a point where it's all psychological. It really is.
and yeah, that's really fascinating to me. That the importance of our thinking and the mindset, and we know scientifically that our thoughts have an impact on our reality. So this isn't just new agey airy fairy talk about being mindful of what we think. Talk a little bit more about that, about how you use that mental discipline when you hit a rough spot, whether it's in life or in a race.
So I mean, we all go through obviously moments in our life where we don't see a light, and obviously I'm not gonna lie to you and say like, okay, yeah, that's that moment I realize, I accept it, and I embrace it, and no, it takes more time than that and more effort. So um, lately, with experience and obviously like with help, doing, for example, what we've been doing this year in the course with the Soulful Transformation, you get these tools, that obviously those tools are out there, and but you have to be the one that find those tools that fit within you, and you use the tools at the right moment. So one of the things that I've been learning lately is one thing about the ego. The ego is always there, and we need to be able to understand it, and what is that ego of ours, that is it really something that we need or that we want, or is our ego that is overtaking that part of us. And another thing, it's to forgive ourselves,
Hmm.
like it's okay to feel bad about something, or it's okay to feel stressed, to feel anxious, sometimes even to feel depressed. But one of the things that has happened to me all my life is that every time I had that bad feeling about something in my life, I would try to cover it or not feel it, or or try to escape from those feelings. And once you start to accept those feelings and understand it, and giving it its name, it's easier to come out through the other side. So what I'm trying to say is that before I could feel bad about something, and it would take me about, I don't know, a week, even a month, to get out of that bad spot. Now I can do it sometimes in a day or even in hours. No.
That's incredible. I'm really happy to hear that. And yeah, understanding the ego is so critically important. That's why we spent the whole first quarter diving into that, because if we want to have relationships that have a chance of working, a life that is filled with meaning and purpose, a sense of empowerment, we've got to understand how the ego works. And I loved what you just said about the emotions and how critically important. And I'm so delighted to hear that about this shorting in time, like you're making the time of recovery, of coming back to homeostasis or feeling better, is becoming shorter and shorter for you. Especially after what you said, that your MO, what you learned, the way that you were conditioned was to run away from the emotions, to run away from feelings that were not fun, or pleasant to feel. Do you want to share a little bit about that process, how that was for you?
Yeah, I mean, what exactly you mean? Like at the like in my early years,
Whichever way you want to go. You
when I
know,
was.
I don't want to put you on the spot. So,
No, 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 no,
however you want to
no.
answer
I'm
that.
perfect. I mean, obviously, I mean, I'm a father now, father of four, and obviously that's also a learning process, and many times, like, so talking about the ego, like, I don't want to sound dispersed, but it's just so many things coming to my head right now. Is that like many of the ways we act, even our ego, is something that we learned through our parents, and through our lives. So what we think that it's really us, it might be something that we learned from our parents.
Yes.
So I've been able to identify that, and realize that maybe when I want to run away from a bad feeling, it's not because I really run away. It's just something that I learned that I have to do, and sometimes we do really need to go through that pain, no? And I don't know if that answers a little bit what you were asking, Christian.
Yeah, yeah, no, that definitely definitely part of it. And if you would speak a little bit of dress, because I know you're not the only one in this group who who has dealt with issues around using substances to
Yeah.
numb, as a way to numb out and to not feel and to run away
No, of
from yourself.
course. I mean, that's all of my life at the beginning when I was younger. I know in my early ages, from I don't know, from since I was born to 12. When I was 12, I started using. At that time, I was too young to use. I didn't have that knowledge of what alcohol and drugs would do. But as soon as I found them, I realized it was a great way to hide all these feelings, and it was just it's a way to I found a way to numb all that pain that I had, and the more I did it, the more I like it, and that's what drugs and alcohol actually did for me, and in many ways it just numbed my soul completely, and made me feel that I was in control. So I think that's a lot of what I really enjoyed about that. It's that I thought that in that pain I could control that pain.
Hmm.
So I was the one putting myself into that pain, but at the same time I was controlling that pain. So nobody else was doing it for me. And
And at what point did that stop working for you? That's temporary solution of numbing out and that illusion of controlling the pain or managing the pain. Did it start showing up as creating problems in your life?
well, yeah, because at the end of the day, I couldn't function like a normal. Well, no, I want to say normal because that's stereotyping, but like I couldn't function in my daily tasks. I was a father at that time because I my daughter was born when I was 21, and even though I was very young at that time, I couldn't take responsibility of that. I couldn't take responsibility of my studies in college. I couldn't take responsibilities like a friend. I mean, just in all aspects of my life, it just started deteriorating everything. And obviously that pain that I thought that I controlled got worse and worse, and I was feeling more pain and remorse, and it's just a full cycle of really, really, really painful things that just got out of control.
And by the way, I just want to acknowledge, I don't know if you saw, but Lorianne, who's watching live, just acknowledged you for also using. She could relate because she has also used negative coping mechanisms
Mm.
to deal with stuff that she was navigating. And I also want to say, like, for people who don't know you, that your family is so extraordinarily beautiful. Your kids are so beautiful, and having had the opportunity to witness you, like getting down on the floor with them and playing with them, it's a really a beautiful to witness that transformation and how you're actually healing your own childhood by being able to do that, by getting on the floor and playing with them. You're reclaiming the childhood that you didn't have.
No, of course. And so one of the things that now that I'm a parent, I realized of the deprivation that I got when I was a child is when I see, for example, my kids, my I don't know, Nicolas, my second kid, he's 8 years old, and I remember when I was his age. I mean, I had to grow up really fast because of the situation I was living at home, because of the alcoholism between, that was so penetrated in my home, and that makes you grow really fast, and that kid that really needed, that attention and that care and that amount of playful and all that things that kid should have had, I didn't get. So I do realize when I'm with my kids, I mean, that kid that I have inside comes out, and I love it. I think it's a great opportunity for that small Nacho, that Nacho, younger Nacho, to come out, and heal in a way.
Yeah. And was there a breaking point, a hitting bottom, a wake up call that you said, that's it, this can't go on that way, oh, this can't go on this way?
Yeah, there was. I actually. So I never. So when we had our daughter, me and my wife, now we didn't get married at that time, and we were trying it the whole time. There was a lot of love, obviously, in between us, and we really wanted to make things work. But obviously, at that time, how I was, every time we got together, something I did something awful, and we got separated again, and so forth. No, and yeah, and the last time I did something like this, where I solved a very very a very very huge possibility of losing my daughter, because my wife turned around and said, hey, I mean, this can't go anymore. You've already hurt me too much, but I don't want my daughter to have a father like this and to grow up with that example. Or do you do something about this and try to solve the problem that you have, or you won't see any of us, for a while or
Mm.
forever. So I realized at that moment that if I didn't fix or try to solve the problem that I was having with addiction, then I would lose her, and I didn't want to lose my daughter, obviously.
Mm.
So that's why I tell her many times. Her name is Lola. I tell her that she was an angel sent from heaven to save me, because when you're at that point in addiction, so with so much pain, and you really, I mean, you don't see any hope around on anything. And I was very lucky that I had Lola, because actually every time that I woke up the next day when I had used drugs or whatever, um, that remorse of like, hey, you have a daughter, you have to take care of her. So that little voice inside me, it was her.
Mm.
So that's why I tell her every day that I can, that I really thank her for that.
It's so beautiful. It's very, very moving. And having had the privilege of, of holding the space for breathwork for you and Letty, your wife, and Lola, your eldest, I'm so grateful to know you, and to see how the healing gets passed on to the next generation.
Yeah. No, and that's, for example, one of the gifts. I think that maybe she doesn't see it now, but I'm sure, or maybe she does. But being able to have done that breath work with you together, me and my daughter,
Exactly.
I mean, that's incredible. I mean, I
Yeah.
see, I see, I see, like my parents, which both of them I love very much, and I don't accuse them of anything. I think that they did what they could with the
Right.
tools that they had, and they did their best. Uh, but thinking of doing something like this with them will be like impossible. So me giving this to Lola, and I really do hope that the day that she has kids, maybe she even do better than I did, and maybe do it earlier, or I don't know, and do other things. So that really, I mean, it's a gift for both of us, both ways. But I'm really hopeful that she does this with her kids, or even better things.
So we're trying to, yeah, and without a doubt, like without a doubt, she is amazing and will do amazingly in life. And we're intentionally keeping these short, especially during the holidays as we approach a big holiday tomorrow. So I just have one last question for you. Because observing you, you give yourself fully. Like you don't do life half-ass. So you do your international banking successfully, um, like your sports like extraordinarily so, and your parenting. You give yourself to your parenting. So how do you balance that for somebody who's watching this, who struggles with issues around scheduling and all the demands that we face in life, and to keep attention on our own process of healing and transformation? What words of support, insight can you share?
Well, obviously, you need to be very time efficient. I mean, that's for sure. But at the end of the day, it's just finding the right balance. I mean, obviously, there's gonna be months where for example, the workload is lower, so I can take advantage of that, and and train more, and be with the family more. Sometimes I need to do more trips, more business trips. So if I'm in a business trip, um, I try to be more at with my kids when I'm back from that business trip, and maybe in that business trip I take advantage of also do business, but then train a little bit more. But it's finding the right balance, and first of all, is being very very observative of how are your surroundings. So if you really feel that you need to spend more time with the family, even though you have a race coming up and you need to train more, it's more important to be with the family. it's
Mm,
it's finding those priorities, and really being observative of what's going on. Because sometimes, and me the first, that I realized is, like, for example, what I said before, I have a race coming up, and I'm very nervous about the race and I need to train more. But I don't know, maybe one of my kids needs more attention. And well, I think that's you need to prioritize and see, like, hey,
mm,
I need to be more like it. And that will also help you in the race, because everything
mm,
is connected. One will think like, okay, no, if I focus more on the work, then I'm going to be much better. And no, sometimes if you take that focus in your family, you know that will also help you in the work, because you'll be more relaxed, and because it's everything is connected. Everything
beautiful.
is connected. So
Well, what deeper words can we end this on? Everything is connected. So thank you, Nacho. Thank you so much for sharing your life experience, your journey of transformation, your wisdom, what you've learned. Thanks for sharing your all of you in such a real way. And thank you everybody for watching. Have an amazing holiday weekend. Stay warm if you're in the northern part of the U.S. and Canada, where it's going to get really cold this weekend. Take care of yourself. And much love, Nacho.
thank you very much, Christian, for this opportunity. I love you much, and happy holidays for everyone.
And I love you and your family.
Thank you. Bye.